It's always a challenge to have this opportunity to speak, especially after this kind of wonderful speech by the leader of SGA. So give her another hand. She's kind of stolen a bit of my thunder because I was going to tell you some of the wonderful things we're doing for students, and she's already told you about it, so I guess I have to talk about other things. You know, every spring I have this opportunity to talk to you about what we are doing and how we're doing, and even in these economic times, you know, we're doing pretty good. We've been affected by the economy, as has everyone else, but because we have made some decisions early in the process, and the way in which we run our institution, we are not as bad as some of the other institutions up and down the street. I try to talk about the good news every year, and we still have good news, but we have some challenging news. We know that it's harder for students to get loans. Some of the banks with whom we've been dealing have cut that out as part of their business completely. The Bank of America, who had been one of the largest lenders for students and their parents, stopped that as part of their business. Fortunately, the feds are increasing Pell, and the state of Illinois has voted to increase MAP, but they haven't funded the increase. So that doesn't, at least we know that if money is ever there, there's an increase in MAP, but until such time, it's at the same budget. There's a mortgage crisis, I don't have to tell you about it. And our costs of providing a quality education keep going up. Things of which we have no control over keep costing us more to do it. Our lights, the gas, the cleaning of the buildings, the purchasing of equipment, you know, all of those things that we have no control over continue to go up. But at the same time, we work diligently to hold down tuition increases. Over the past 5-6 years, our increases have averaged under 5%. And this coming year, I'm very, very pleased to say that our tuition increase will be under 3%. In fact, 2.86, I think, is the actual number. You should applaud because I remember that number. And we're proud of that. So it therefore means that the college has decided to live on less, while at the same time we know that things over which we have no control will continue to increase. So it means that we have to tighten our belts a little bit more. As we have done this year, we have tightened our belt. I'll talk about that. Our endowment took a hit. Our endowment was not big to begin with when you look at some of the larger institutions up and down, in fact, the state of Illinois, the big two being Northwestern and University of Chicago. Northwestern's endowment was $7.5 billion, and it took a hit of $2.5 billion. That's a lot of money. The University of Chicago's endowment was someplace in the same level and took the same kind of hit. When I first arrived at the college, our endowment was $45 million. We built it to about $120 million. We felt real good about that. Mike and I were celebrating in terms of what we'd done over the period of time. But we've taken a hit about 40%. That's a lot of money in our little endowment. But unlike a lot of institutions, we have planned differently. We were always concerned that we were so tuition dependent, because we depend on tuition so very, very strongly. At the University at Northwestern University, they draw 18% of our operating expenses from revenues of our endowment. We draw no money for our annual operations out of our endowment in terms of operations. So therefore, although we cry because of how low our endowment is, it hasn't affected our operations. Harvard University depends on 28% of their operating budget from operations from revenue of endowment. Now, they were at 26 billion and they are down to 20 billion, 19 billion, you know, so I'm not crying for them. You know, I'm sorry that they've lost that money, but clearly they're in a different ballpark. But because we operate a little bit different, we're not in such bad shape. We've also done some other things. The very first thing was that we took some revenues that we had gotten last year from operating, and rather than putting it into our long-term investment portfolio, which had been just dying and dying and dying, we put it aside in our operating budget, and so it's earning about 1%, but it's earning rather than losing it completely, all right? The other thing we did was that we froze executive salaries. So all of these people who you just saw, including yours truly, have salaries which are frozen. Frozen this year and next year. Maybe even frozen the year after that. They just tear it down. Okay? Third, what else did we do? We put a freeze on all new faculty and staff positions this year. We said that since we're not exactly sure what's going to happen, let's not have to pay for additional people. Although we need them, we'd love to have them, we've made it this far without them. And we've done pretty good without them. So let's not add to that expense. Our largest expense as an institution is in salaries and benefits. So by not doing that, and not adding those positions, all of which were needed, I'm not saying we didn't need them, we move forward. We also said, the we being the vice president and I said, for all replacement positions, rather than you lose somebody and the department decides I'm going to rehire them, the vice president will be involved in that decision. Go to that vice president and say, you know, I really think that I need this person. I need this position replaced, and this is the reason why. And so it's not just replace a position because it's open. But we make those decisions carefully because those are long-term decisions. Because when you hire somebody, you're making a decision that you believe in them and you're going to have them here for a good period of time. And that's a financial commitment, and we said that